Welcome back to the Mom2Mom podcast. We are so glad you're here. And today we are going to be talking about one of our favorite birth tools, and honestly, one of the ones that I think might be the most underrated. And that is our friend,
Da-da-da-da.
the birth ball.
Welcome.
It's truly an exercise ball, but we're going to refer to it as a birth ball today.
Yes, yes. And I think if you've ever thought to yourself or wondered why doulas always bring a birth ball into the room or talk about how to use them, I think that this episode will clear that up and is definitely for you.
Yes, absolutely. We are going to break down the real benefits, how it supports movement and comfort, and just the simple techniques and exercises that we teach our clients how to use the birth ball in preparation for birth, during your birth, and even in those postpartum days.
Yes, yes, yes. It's for all types and all stages of birth and labor and pregnancy. Just getting more comfortable, feeling more confident, just again, all of these tools, that's the hope for it. So
Yeah.
let's get into birth life.
You are listening to the Mom2Mom podcast, hosted by Stephanie Sinclair and Nikki Zwaber, partners and lead doulas here at How2Mom.
We're moms, we're professionals, and we're here to make motherhood feel a little less heavy and far more supported.
How2Mom is a community built for real life. From pregnancy and birth to postpartum and beyond, we support families through education, connection, and care. Our team of birth and postpartum doulas work with families every day while also sharing stories on our podcast and our blog to curate trusted resources for moms in the Twin Cities and beyond.
On this podcast, we talk about the real stuff, the stories that stay with you, the questions you're already asking, and the moments that feel hard, hopeful, and everything in between.
Absolutely. You will hear honest conversations, expert insight, lived experiences, and reminders that you are not doing this alone.
This is Mom2Mom. We're so glad you're here. And now, on to today's episode.
Let's do it. And regardless of where you're birthing, your facility should have birth balls accessible to you.
Yes.
Whether that be a hospital, a birth center. But we do strongly encourage, and we think it's worth the investment to purchase a birth ball for yourself. We have some really great options that we'll link below. And we do find that it's important to talk about the sizing of your birth ball. So we'll get into that later on in the episode as well. So let's first start by talking about, like, why are we even doing a podcast about our dear friend, the birth ball? So Nikki, why don't you start us off by talking about the why?
Yeah, I mean, it is really the unsung hero of the labor world. And I think very often are hearing, do you mean a workout ball?
Yeah.
For my core, I'm doing my abs on that thing. So yeah, I mean, sure, it's for a workout ball and you can use it for that. But however, I mean, the other question we get is, well, why would I need one and what the heck am I going to do with it at home?
Yeah.
But it really does matter in labor, having this really amazing tool. It matters physically and emotionally, which is the part of our podcast today episode that I'm really looking forward to getting into.
Yeah, and I think people would be really shocked to hear that.
Yeah.
Emotionally.
Your emotional support labor ball?
Your partner,
yes.
Another partner in labor, a part of your birth team. Actually, that's the reality. Like,
yes.
The birth ball should be listed
yes.
as a part of your birth team.
Absolutely, he should.
But what's great about a birth ball, even before labor begins, it is going to be great to just intuitively increase movement, flexibility, fluidity within your pelvis, your muscles, your ligaments, especially for those that work on the computer like 8 hours a day. And in that third trimester of pregnancy, we would strongly urge and encourage that half of your day be spent on the ball instead of in a chair.
Yeah.
And that is because you're going to just instinctually move your pelvis, move your hips. You're going to just instinctually do pelvic tilts, do hip circles. And that's going to be really, really great to create space for your baby to get into that optimal position for birth and kind of prep and prepare for labor, which will be around the corner.
Right. And when you're doing all of those movements, when you're rocking and swaying and changing positions, your body often very much interprets that as feeling safe.
Yeah.
And so when we're feeling safe, we're feeling more capable, we're feeling less tension.
Yep.
And that can make all of the difference in how your labor feels and how your body is interpreting each stage of labor.
Yeah.
And so movement now, even ahead of labor, while you're prepping for things, it just gets your body into that rhythm. And you're going to hear us talk about rhythm quite a bit through this episode. So just keep that in mind.
Absolutely. And I think too, kind of piggybacking off of this emotional preparation, I think it's going to give you some confidence.
Right.
And it's not going to be the first time you're experiencing movement on the ball when you're in labor if you have it in preparation, right? So it's that confidence booster. It's something that's familiar. Your body remembers those movements that you've been doing leading up to labor that you're now doing in labor. And that directly impacts our nervous system. And so that's where that sense of safety really comes from, is like the nervous system reacting to this pattern and this rhythm that you've been finding on the birth ball.
Yes. And what comes with rhythm, especially when we're talking about your nervous system, muscle memory, but what comes with rhythm ahead of time is predictability.
Yes.
And so obviously there's so much gray area when it comes to pregnancy and labor and birth and delivery. And I think most often than not, when we're talking to a family that's bringing a baby into the world, their one hope is, where can I control?
Yes.
And so when we talk about the importance of labor prep and body prep, this really does come down to, this is something that you can attempt to control.
Yep.
Is moving your body, staying tight with what your rhythms are, staying in control, and then creating that predictability with your body. I think, I know that we talk about this a lot, but if you've ever worked out, if you ever trained for not even a marathon, like if you ever did like the couch to 5K, do you remember that when that was super popular?
Yes.
I mean, I've tried it 10,000 times, but in any case, that's the point, right? So you're training your muscles, you're training your memory.
Yeah, 100%.
And so if that makes it easier for folks out there to digest, that's really what you're doing, is you are training for labor. And something as simple as this gorgeous little birth ball can make the biggest difference.
And I think people are always trying to find ways to prepare and prep. And it feels overwhelming to think about like all of the to-dos. This is such a simple way that you almost don't even realize that you're prepping and preparing.
Fold your laundry on it.
Yeah. I say, like, if you're going to watch a movie in the third trimester, watch half of it, maybe lounging on the couch. Yeah, put your feet up. You deserve rest. But then watch the other half of the movie sitting on the ball and moving, because then you're still getting that flexibility. You're still creating that space, but you're still relaxing and watching a movie. It's the same, when we talked about like during work, doing half on the ball, half in a chair. It really is productive. But you're not doing anything drastically different or feeling overwhelmed by a to-do.
Right. We're just creating, like you said, creating space. And then those upright motions, those upright movements are encouraging your baby to get in the right position. So productive, you said productive.
Yep.
Sure, it feels good. It's fun. It's whatever, like lightly bounce on it if you want. That's fine. But we want it to be productive. And that's what, again, let's go back to predictability and control.
Yep.
This is something that you can have and be preparing in a really good way.
Yeah. And the three principles in the spinning babies world, it's movement, gravity, and balance. And so when we are sitting on a birth ball, we are not only allowing all three of those principles to be a part of that preparation, but gravity actually can help encourage our baby, like Nikki said, to not only get into an optimal position, but to start thinking about creating that downward pressure
Mhm.
and, allowing that start of maybe pre and early labor to
Mhm.
begin, it really can bring us to that next stage, which is like, how do we now utilize the birth ball during labor? So we know that it does all this prep work. We know that it's productive. We know that it's effective. But now that we're in labor, now we can really use those tools that we've been using in preparation and also for memory. Now we can actually use it during labor and it doesn't feel foreign or new to us. It's something that we're familiar with.
Right. And then it allows our body and our brains to participate
Yep.
in labor and participate in each stage versus just getting through labor.
Yep. Now we know that our pelvis is a bony structure, but it is flexible. It is meant to move. And when we utilize a ball and when we are specific and are strategic in the types of movements, it really can help create space in different parts of the pelvis when needed. So as that baby gets encouraged to engage, and then as that baby starts to descend and starts to navigate the pelvis, there are certain positions and certain techniques we can do and use with the ball to create more space in the inlet. Baby kind of starts to descend, then, of course, mid pelvis, and then, of course, the outlet of the pelvis. So the ball just automatically is going to encourage that pelvic movement. But I think one of the most underestimated or non appreciated parts of the ball is it can help us be in active positions, but then it can also help us rest
Right.
and melt into something that can hold us up, but yet we're still in an upright, gravity favoring position.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think we can even break it down. I think it'd be easy to talk about early labor.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's start there. Let's start with early labor and why and when we would use the ball. Like as a doula, like what
Yep.
positions are you giving your clients in early labor?
Yeah, for sure. In early labor, I love women sitting on the ball
Mhm.
and doing those hip circles and doing the pelvic tilts, especially because that's going to encourage engagement.
Yep.
And so that's going to actually help baby enter into the pelvis, which will apply more pressure, which will in turn help labor progress.
Mhm.
I think, too, one of our biggest things we stress in early labor is rest. And so it's like, how can we feel like we're being productive and helping labor kind of kick into gear, but yet get our rest? You can kind of go on all fours,
Mhm.
but lean into the ball. And so you're still being active in that movement, but you can literally drape your arms around the ball, put your head directly on the exercise ball, and maybe even get little cat naps in between these early contractions.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think the resting piece is really clever when we talk about it. Bring it on your bed.
Yeah, good
Um,
point.
Sit on it. Depending on like how high your bed or your couch may be, like sit on the ball, lean forward, let your belly just hang loose,
Yes.
and fold forward.
Yeah.
Get a
Use
cat
some
nap in. Use some
pillows.
pillows. Yeah, and so I'm exactly the same. Like I
Yeah.
love all of those things.
Yeah.
Absolutely in early
So
labor.
you're utilizing it to continue to help your body progress and not feeling like, okay, I'm not being an active participant.
Right.
I want this to keep going because I want to have this baby,
Right.
but yet you're still allowing time and space for rest and sleep.
Right. Yeah. And then I think moving into active labor.
Yeah.
So when things start to get a little more intense and contractions typically pick up or
Yeah.
starting to get longer and stronger, I think the ball can become a bit more dynamic in use, right? So I
Absolutely.
think grabbing your partner, having your doula, right? So doing maybe some of those similar things we talked about, sitting, pelvic thrust and hip rocks,
Yeah.
things like that, leaning forward even, but having your partner or doula do some counter pressure on
Yeah.
your hips, using your sits bones as a place of counter pressure as well, that light shake of the hips and the pelvis. So again, you're still participating, you're giving your body space and softness on the ball, but then we basically just sort of change the direction of the support
Yeah.
behind you.
Yeah. And I think what's great too when I'm supporting clients and they're feeling really good sitting on the ball, but then as a contraction starts to build, their body just knows it needs to move and it needs to sway. I can continue to apply that counter pressure even as they sway or do those hip circles,
Right.
which is really great. I also think during active labor, some women like they cannot remain seated.
Yes.
Like as that contraction starts to build, they have to stand up, which is beautiful. And they know in their body what their baby needs. But what's great about the ball is it's soft enough. So, like, you can easily go from that sit to stand, kind of breathe through that contraction, move however you need to move on your feet.
Mhm.
But then as that contraction subsides, they're able to very easily kind of sit back down and rest and like give their legs a break. But yet we're still in a very active movement type place, but not having to like be on their feet the entire time of that active labor. So it just is a really great like added tool to go from sit to stand.
Yep.
If you're feeling like there's no way I could lay down or stay seating, for an actual contraction, but we're still able to rest. So those are kind of go-tos. I also think hands and knees are just a great place to be in active labor.
Yes.
And like Nikki said, if you're birthing at a hospital and you're like, I don't want to get on hands and knees on the floor, you just put the birth ball literally in bed. Do you want your labor support plan to be just breathe through it or actual tools that help?
The Comfort Measures for Labor class from Mom2Mom teaches real hands-on ways to cope with contractions, movement, breathing, positions, and partner support that doesn't involve panic Googling mid-labor.
This class works whether you're planning an epidural, no epidural, or let's see how it goes type of birth.
Online, practical, calming, and confidence boosting.
And hey, if you're a How2Mom client, don't forget to enter your discount code at checkout. Find more information at how2mom.com under courses. Now, back to the episode. Lay the bed completely flat. You can be on hands and knees, but you're not putting all of that added pressure onto your like shoulders, wrists, and elbows. You're in that same position, but you're leaning into the ball, and the ball is essentially holding you up in hands and knees.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love standing.
Yeah.
With the ball.
Yes.
I think even too, like, let's transition,
Yep.
if you will, into transition.
Ooh, look at
You
that.
like how I did that there? No. So transition in labor can feel really intense.
Yep.
And I love a stand during this portion of the programming. But again, I'll just speak from a hospital birth.
Yeah.
So the bed can raise up and down as tall as you want. You put the birth ball on the bed and then you're standing and just sort of either like hugging or draped over that ball while you're standing, while your hips are rocking, while you're maybe being supported with some counter pressure. Maybe you're doing some squatting because that just feels really intuitive to your body. And opening up the pelvis and lengthening the muscles of the pelvic floor. So, I mean, that's just one example, and I just had it the other day, so that's why it's fresh in my mind.
Beautiful.
It was really beautiful.
We don't have to like completely like put all of our body weight into the ball for it to be useful. So that's such a good point. I'm glad you brought that up.
Well, and it's grounding, right?
Yeah.
So it's something to touch. It's something to feel. Birth and labor are 80% mental.
Yeah, so true.
And emotional. And so again, giving yourself something that's grounding, feel the touch, feel the texture. If there's a texture, feel the lines on the ball if there's the lines on the ball, right? So it's just something else that you can be using in that time.
And if you are birthing anywhere and you're not bringing your own ball and you are utilizing the ball from the facility and you're a little bit nervous about like germs and who possibly used this before you, it is sanitized, but you can always ask them for some chucks.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be sitting on the ball, that way you just have something in between the ball and say, for example, you've already removed your underwear. You don't have to feel weird about kind of using a shared ball. I might be jumping ahead, but I don't want to forget to talk about our birth ball's sister, which is the peanut ball.
The younger
The younger,
cute sister, the
cute,
peanut ball.
yes,
Well, she
cute,
comes in
cute,
multiple
ugly.
sizes.
She sure does. Yes, she sure does. So if for some, if you're listening, you're like, okay, all this sounds really great, but I don't want to be that active in labor, or like, how am I supposed to be that active in labor if I'm getting an epidural? Don't you worry. You can still do some of those positions. Again, you can have an epidural and be in bed with the ball and be on hands and knees. Like, you just have to have the right team. Not everybody will tell you that you can do that, but you absolutely can with the right support. But if you are trying to take a nap or rest, or maybe we are trying to create more space in certain parts of your pelvis, that is where the peanut ball comes in. And it just keeps kind of your legs apart and keeps that opening there throughout your pelvis with the help of that peanut ball.
While you rest.
While you rest.
Yes.
So again, active while resting.
I think the only thing I would add is similar to what we talked about at the beginning, making sure that the size is right for you.
Yep.
So again, if they're not offering multiple sizes where you're at, typically they have multiple sizes. I am 5'1".
Yes.
And my legs just don't have the space for the big sister mama peanut ball. And so I need like what was Barbie's little sister's name? Do you remember?
Oh,
Stacy.
Stacy. Yeah.
I need like the Stacy of the peanut.
Yeah, and I definitely did not get the Stacy when I got my epidural with Mackenzie, and I was like, this. There weren't multiple sizes then, 13 years ago, or at least they didn't share that with me. And yes, it may have still done its job, but it was like literally, I felt like I was holding it up. But utilize that bed to help that ball stay in place so that you are not holding tension to hold the ball, because that kind of defeats the whole purpose. So sizing, but then also the placement and the actual like technique that you're using is also important, because we want to make sure that we're creating space in the right part of the pelvis.
Right, exactly.
If we're utilizing that tool.
Exactly,
so hopefully that helps in terms of how we would use the birth ball to support labor. The only thing we didn't talk about is pushing, but I do feel like depending on the type of birth you're having, it could be very, very similar to how we're using the ball during transition. Would you agree?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I've seen people start off pushing on the ball.
For sure. There's time for that.
There's typically time for that. So yeah, we should talk about that in another episode.
Yeah, agreed.
Like all the different ways that you can push.
That is a great idea.
Right?
And then we'll just mention
the
ball.
Just bring the ball back in.
Yeah, because we like the ball. I do think Nikki already did a great job at talking about how the partner and your support team can assist. And like, don't worry, the ball is not taking your role. It's just assisting.
Yes.
And it's actually helping you shine.
Yes. And even as the partner, if there's a point in labor where mom is asleep, you can sit on the ball.
Yes.
Doulas, I feel like you and I are very often vacillating between the ball, a stool, a chair.
Yes.
So everybody can use the ball. The ball is for everyone.
I'm sitting on the ball way more than I'm sitting in any chair.
Right.
And to sustain this work, like I can't stand the whole time. It also, just like I talked about with laboring moms, if I'm supporting a client who is maybe in the tub, it gives me really great movement to follow her, but to still get a little bit of time off of my feet.
Yes.
But then if something changes really quickly for my client, I'm able to get up really quickly. I'm not stiff. I'm not sore. I've continued to move. Really helps with low back pain.
Yep.
We didn't really talk about the comfort, but it really, I think it's great for your digestive system if you're not pregnant. Yeah. But I also think there's just a lot of comfort in taking kind of that like hard surface that can create and cause a lot more stiffness. So the ball is for everyone.
It really is.
Yes.
No, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, I hope that the ball appreciates all the things that we're talking about.
I know, we're just crowning the ball. So with all of these different positions and techniques that we have talked about, I want you, if you're listening today and you're not watching this on YouTube, but rather like listening in your car, this would be an episode that would be worth jumping on YouTube for, to actually look at the videos that we have recorded showing and teaching you these different positions and these different comfort measures. So make sure to check that out. We'll have, of course, everything linked in the show notes to those photos, to those videos. But I think that will be extremely helpful. But if you decide to purchase this, 25-ish dollar ball,
Mhm.
are you going to just have to throw it away after you give birth, or like, can you utilize this in your postpartum time frame? And this is where I would argue that yes, you can do little bounces while you're pregnant, but I would strongly suggest really leaning in more to pelvic tilts and hip circles, because the bouncing is not actually helping us in terms of comfort and preparing for labor and delivery, but rather it just creates a habit for your baby to like bouncing, which is a mistake I made with my first.
How are your quads after that?
Burning. I'd literally come out of the nursery sweating and my legs were on
Oh
fire.
my gosh.
So don't focus on your ball too much. But babies still really like that rhythmic movement. They
Yes.
remember it from
Yes.
when they were in utero.
Yes, it can be very calming and soothing. And again, just nice and soft for postpartum moms' bodies as well. A nice soft place to land while you're healing up as well. And of course, toddlers love it. I mean, come on, it's a giant ball.
Yeah,
Who
it's
doesn't
never
want to roll it around and kick it around? And
Yeah.
it's great. So,
It's never going out of
the
style.
investment.
Yeah, it's never going out of style.
Never.
You will utilize it forever and ever. So if there is one thing that we hope you all take from this episode, is that labor doesn't have to be still. Whether you're utilizing a birth ball or not, I think the number one word we use most in this episode is movement.
Right.
So you do not have to be still during your labor. I actually think you will find that the contractions are easier to ride with movement.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And I think, again, at How to Mom specifically, our biggest mantra with all of our clients is there's no wrong way to birth a baby.
Mm-hmm.
The same applies here with all of the different tools that you have available to you.
Mm-hmm.
There's no right way to labor. In the birth ball and other tools that we may share with clients and with you out there, they're options. They're not rules to labor.
Right.
And I think having options, that's really where that true foundation of confidence comes from.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not trying to be perfect, but really taking in all of your options and figuring out what works best for you.
Absolutely. And the birth ball can just be a simple tool. I think is why we also love it, is we're not giving anything that's complex or that feels overwhelming. It's a very simple option.
Yes.
I think also, like what Nikki is speaking so truly to, is that your intuition will know. And even if you are like, yeah, right, I don't think I'm going to intuitively know what I need, we are here to tell you that we need you and want you and encourage you to really lean into your intuition, which is ironic because we have an episode coming out here shortly that's all about a mother's intuition. And this is just kind of a small part of that. If the ball feels right and good for you, awesome. If it doesn't, that's okay. You don't need to feel like you're having to force anything in order to have any type of outcome or guarantee. Hopefully, some of these positions will be helpful for you. But if you do want a deeper dive, some more guidance in terms of comfort measures, this would be a great opportunity to tell you about our on-demand comfort measures course that we have available at a very affordable rate. It will not only talk in more detail about the birth ball and different positions, but it will also talk about those other tools that may be right for you as well. So we'll link that course below that may be appropriate and helpful for all of you.
And just remember, you don't need to have it all figured out right now. Anytime, you just need support, you need information, and you need space to listen to your body. And we're always here to walk that path with you.
Absolutely. We're so happy that you joined us on today's episode. Thanks for being here, and we will catch you on the next.
See you next time.
Thank you so much for listening. For show notes, links, and more information, please visit our website at Mom2Mom.com. That's HOW, the number 2, Mom2Mom.com.
And remember, whether you're a mom, a parent, or a caregiver, you are doing great. That's progress over perfection, and we're all just figuring it out together.